Hi, I'm John Cronin, Reform UK candidate, live from the heart of Bermondsey, and I've got with me today Matt Stevens.
Yep, I've been campaigning with Reform UK through all of the local elections, London elections, and Cheshire and Amersham with Richard and David.
Yeah, on today's show, we got some topics certainly up for discussion that have been happening quite recently. First of all, yesterday was Freedom Day.
Yes.
So, did it feel like Freedom Day?
No, I mean it didn't. I mean, if you go around shops now, the Prime Minister's absolutely instills so much fear into people now. 80% of people are still wearing masks in shops, but really we need to let the shackles off as a country now. We need to be brave. Life comes with a risk, and people need to take risks now. People need to get back out into shops, get back on the high street, get buying again. It's time to move on as a country. As you say, yesterday, Freedom Day didn't feel like Freedom Day with the Prime Minister's gloomy press conference in the evening. But as a country now, we've got to move on from this. Population's vaccinated, we've got to move on and be strong and be free, and really it's time to move on.
I think personally at the moment that the government seem to be making up as they go along.
Absolutely.
There's been very weak leadership, there's weak opposition, and there's room for a party like Reform UK to make some ground.
100%. Absolutely. I mean,
we seem to be on the right side of the argument, I think.
I think we absolutely are. Yesterday, the Prime Minister's conference about vaccine passports. I think that was absolutely ludicrous to have 2 vaccines to get into a nightclub. I mean, to have to show your medical papers to get in anywhere is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, what next? If you've got HIV, you can't come in. If you've got this disease, you can't come in. If you've got flu, you can't come in. What are the government going to do next with this? Opens the gateways for a serious problem in the future. It's an awful idea, and I just hope to God it doesn't pass through the House of Commons. But it's such an awful proposition from the Prime Minister, so unconservative, so illiberal, and if this gets voted through, I mean, this government will become unpopular overnight. Yeah, I mean, nobody likes it.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's shown weak leadership, as you saw yesterday, the other day with this ridiculous ping.
Oh, so hypocritical.
I mean, first of all, he was saying he was going to not going to isolate. Now he's like, it shows weak leadership, doesn't it?
I mean, what it also shows how spineless he is. He listens to what the last person said to him. He does something, and then, oh my goodness, the public don't like it, so let's shy away from it now. I mean, to actually do it in the first place and suggest you won't isolate because you've magically been put on a pilot scheme is absolutely absurd. It's one rule for us and one rule for them. How on earth can the government expect people to follow these sort of rules if they're not even following them themselves? I mean, I spoke to plenty of people on Sunday in the morning before he retracted his statement and sort of said, well, if he's not isolating, I'm not going to isolate. Screw that as an idea. I'm deleting the app. The app's gone. And I know hundreds of people who deleted the app, the NHS app, because the Prime Minister, quite frankly, ignored his own advice, which is absolutely unacceptable.
I think the app is not fit for purpose anymore.
No, absolutely not. Especially those who've been double jabbed. It's a pointless thing.
I mean, there's businesses having to close because one person. I mean, this pilot scheme that they're talking about should be extended to all around now.
Absolutely. I mean, we're having forget the pandemic. We've got a pingdemic, haven't we? Yes. Everyone's getting pinged, and
It's like I saw the other day, microwave meal gone ping. I've been pinged.
Yeah, everyone has
the same thing.
A million kids missed school last week because of self-isolation. I mean,
children's education is suffering.
And actually, a study from Oxford University showed that only 2% of people pinged by the NHS app. I mean, it was quite a small study, but only 2% of those pinged actually test positive. Yeah. So out of 500,000, out of 500,000 who get pinged, for example, only 486,000 of them won't actually be positive. Yeah. So you've got 486,000 people needlessly isolating when they haven't actually got COVID. When a simple test could actually just, have a test every morning, you haven't got COVID, go on and live your day. That's how it should be.
I mean, what was laughable was when they turned and said, we're going to lift restrictions in the middle of August for school kids. The kids are off anyway.
I mean, do they not know when school is? Are they in their own sort of world? I mean, school finishes in July. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I see no reason for them to have done that whatsoever.
So there's been a lot of hypocrisy from the government, and as you saw last night, there seems to be a lot of anger. There's protests outside Downing Street now.
Yeah, I mean, people were furious yesterday, especially with the vaccine passports, as you mentioned. I mean, Nadhim Zahawi, the vaccine minister, actually called these propositions discriminatory himself. The vaccines minister called these propositions discriminatory and guaranteed to Claire Fox, if you've seen the tweet. So she asked him, can we hold you to the fact that we know vaccine passports? And he responded to that tweet, yes you can. And yet again, the government said one thing and did another. It's literally like a group of 6-year-olds making policy up as they go along.
Yeah.
You know, what's next?
What confidence can you have in the government when they keep flip-flopping the way they are? You know?
It's crazy. Like, they walk out the door, oh, I want to change outfit now, come back in, change outfit again, I promise I won't change outfit again, let's go and get another outfit on. It really is absolutely ridiculous. How can anybody have confidence in a government that can't even stick to a policy for 2.5 hours to clear a backlog of 12 million people from the NHS?
I know.
I mean, it's
everything
crazy.
else. I mean, for example, you know the job I do as a bin man.
Mm-hmm.
We a lot of us get in contact with all kinds of diseases and all the rest of it, and we need protection.
Yeah.
No one. The company didn't offer any protection, or obviously we couldn't go to a hospital, and forget about seeing a doctor about updating your jabs while coronavirus was going on. So we were hung out to dry, really.
And you're the most
bin men,
important
for
people
example,
in the country,
exactly.
aren't you, debatably?
We're avoiding trying to protect people from diseases besides COVID.
Absolutely lunacy. Yeah, just crazy.
So we were putting ourselves in more danger than most
needed
people.
to be.
Basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, definitely. And you couldn't stop. It's not that you can stop me because you'd have piles of rubbish all over the streets.
Exactly. Right. We go on to what was brought around possibly giving flu jabs to 2-year-olds.
I've never heard such craziness in my life. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. And the idea to vaccinate 2-year-olds against flu is dangerous, ridiculous, and I think it's absolute lunacy. And I know there's been a debate. A lot of people want to vaccinate children, particularly Tom Harwood from GB News. He seems to be quite sort of, we need to vaccinate children, we're an outlier. And I tweeted him the other day, I said, look, I responded to one of his tweets, can you back this up with any data? I got nearly 100 people like the tweet. No response from him at all. He completely ignored me. There's no data to vaccinate children against a virus that has killed about 100 since the start of the pandemic. More children have lost their life to suicide than coronavirus since the start of the pandemic.
Of course.
There is no need to vaccinate them against a virus that poses no risk to them.
Mind you, I had to give him a bit of time to recover after his ordeal last night.
That was terrible. So terrible from the mob behind him. It was just terrible.
I know, the guy's just doing his job, and he got caught in the crossfire, basically.
You know, whoever it is, they're just doing their job. He wasn't being rude to them, he's being polite, he was just trying to broadcast, and yet you have some silly lady behind screaming obscenities at him. It was outrageous.
Exactly. So, flu jabs, we're going on to, obviously, the vaccine passports.
Yeah, I mean, just a crazy proposition. And we want to talk about cladding. You want to talk about the cladding bill?
Oh, the cladding bill. I personally don't think it protects the leaseholders at all.
No, not at all. I mean, it's completely ignored them. It's, you know, people are still having to pay for waking watch when the building's under 18 foot. You know, how can anybody afford the sort of, you know, afford to have their own fire safety equipment? You know, it costs them unsustainable amounts of money to actually, you know, it costs them a lifetime savings to remove some of this stuff. It's just no good.
I mean, I saw a tweet today. Someone said they had to have their place re-evaluated because it was some mess up with the postcode.
Yeah.
They end up he's having to pay more.
Yeah, it's just so unfair on people. You know, having to pay all of this money for something that's not their fault.
The thing about a lot of people's circumstances have changed because of the COVID. I think people have lost their work, lost their jobs. You know,
absolutely.
Their situations have changed so much,
and
no protection for them at all.
I was listening to a podcast recently. Actually, I think Claire Fox was on it. It was on LBC. It was Cross Question.
Yeah.
And she was in agreement with the Labour MP Jess Phillips about this cladding situation. And Jess Phillips made a really good point. I thought was quite poignant actually, because someone asked why aren't the government doing anything about it, and she sort of suggested the reason they're not doing anything about it is because it's not going to lose them an election, because it's such a small minority of people.
Yeah.
They're ignoring it because it's not going to lose them an election, because there's not enough people to actually, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, we have a situation, this council at the moment, that they are obsessed with wanting to build on parklands.
Yeah.
There seems to be everywhere, all over the borough. And it's Lambeth as well are guilty of this. And they're rushing these things through. The residents are claiming that the correct procedure hasn't been followed, and they're just these things through. And apparently, a lot of these councillors are involved with developers themselves, development industry themselves.
It's like a child marking their own homework.
So it's in their interest to keep these developers in work, so to speak. You know,
as I said, it's like a child.
When they're there to serve the residents, and they're just not listening to the residents. They just they want their own agenda, and that's it.
It's crazy. We wanted to talk about GB News a little bit, didn't we? Really, you know.
Yes. Well, I'd never heard of the guy who took the knee. Apparently, he was with the BBC for 18 years.
Yes,
something like that.
Welsh guy, isn't he? Guto Hari, I think his name is.
Yeah.
So he took the knee on air, and then was suspended from GB News. And what I think about that is, I don't agree with him taking the knee at all. But I don't agree with what you're saying. But I'll die for your right to say it, and that's a really important quote. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'll die for your right to say it, and that's so important. I think it was completely wrong for GB News to suspend him for him to be forced to leave, because he's got freedom of choice to take that action, and I think it was wrong for GB. As much as I disagree with this actually taking the knee, for him to do it is his freedom, and I think he should have been allowed to do it without suspension.
I think so. You got to look at it as well. You got to look at what most TV companies do. They look at viewing figures.
Absolutely.
The viewing figures are taking a hammering because of this,
which they probably weren't.
Yeah, obviously they've got to take some form of action. So they're between a rock and a hard place. TV company.
They are. I totally agree.
Especially as they're just starting as well.
It's always going to be difficult to navigate through.
Of course.
When you first started, it is with any new TV or broadcasting channel.
He's resigned, hasn't he? He's quit. He quit last night.
I think he did.
Last night.
Yeah. And then last night, we had Nigel Farages' new show, which is every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
From 7 to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Followed by, hopefully, with the return of Andrew
Neil
straight after.
Yeah, brilliant. What a couple of hours that is, and then Dan Whitten afterwards.
Dan Whitten after. And at the weekend, Mark Dolan.
Yes, great to see him come on board. Back. He's great.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 9 till...
at midnight, I think it is. Yeah,
midnight.
Brilliant. No, it's great to see Nigel last night. We've missed him off of LBC. He was there for 3 years. Did a brilliant job. His ratings at LBC were fantastic. And something I found really poignant, actually, going through social media, was actually people who really dislike Nigel Farage, have pro-EU flags in their bio or whatever on Twitter, and they were saying, don't like the guy at all, but actually you've got to hats off to him, he's a great broadcaster. And he really, really is. For someone who's, not a natural broadcaster, he did such a fantastic job last night. I personally thought.
Personality-wise, he comes across. He's
a great presenter. Yeah.
He actually talks to you rather than talks down to you.
Absolutely.
I've noticed that he's got great talent for that, even in his political speaking.
100%. 100%.
It was quite interesting that he brought his drinking into it. Was it
with Graham Brady? Yeah, the backbench MP.
Was it? I don't know what a pale ale was, but
I found it quite funny with the whole background of the pub as well. I thought it was brilliant, great. So you want to talk about the salty food sort of tax?
Yeah, it's about 6%, isn't it? 6% they want to put on it.
Absolutely lunacy.
Sugary, salty food.
Just crazy.
It's just another attack on the working class again and the poorest of our society.
Absolutely. Boris Johnson calls himself a libertarian, yet he's looking to raise the price on things,
that affect
working class,
vulnerable people, working class the most.
It affects the least well off most, and it absolutely does. You can't. A working class single mum can't afford to go and buy an M&S Be Good to Yourself or a Sainsbury's Be Good to Yourself organic, whatever. It's affecting the least well off most, and it's just totally illiberal. What it is its policy. He thinks it's going to be popular. What I think it is really is people will only back tax rises if they think it won't affect them. And what I think he thinks is people are going to think, it's not going to affect me, so I'll back this tax rise. What it is policy to make it popular, and it's just awful.
And they keep bringing up this, we got an obesity problem. We got an obesity problem because people were locked down for so long.
Gyms were shut, facilities were shut.
Exactly.
And if there's an obesity crisis, what the government should do is they should launch a campaign to discourage people from eating this junk food, or do sort of measures like that, but don't raise the price of it. Don't, if there's such a problem with it, launch a campaign against it, advertise against it.
Exactly.
But it's people's right to ignore the advertisement, to ignore
make their own choices,
and make their own informed decision. And think, I want to stuff my face with food, I want to be really fat, or it's the wrong decision. Of course it is the wrong decision. But if someone wants to take that decision, it's absolutely theirs to take, and they should be allowed to take it. And the government should have absolutely no say in people doing that.
I'll tell you what was quite ironic. They're all over Mr. Rashford. when he brought up the thing about kids having a meal. I mean, not so long ago before that, they were saying, oh, there was an obesity problem with kids. And now they're saying they're not. They're very confusing. The
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Absolutely. Yeah, so I think that's all, isn't it? Really, I think that was quite.
That's all. What we got coming up is the Academy of Ideas.
Very exciting.
Yeah, Open for Debate Festival.
Yep. Very exciting.
Festival
31st of July.
At Church House, Westminster. It's on the 31st of July. It's from 10 o'clock till 6, and the tickets are £15.
Yeah.
I think we've got there's a few speakers already confirmed. There's Professor from Buckingham, obviously Claire Fox, and there's a few other people. There's lots of debates. It's all spread out throughout the day. There'll be lots of guests. Hopefully, we got press passes, so we'll be there, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up a few interviews and broadcast you on our show.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and hopefully see you there, and I hope you've enjoyed the show today.
Thank you.